Our words of welcome today come from the Reverend Ninan Soto. Reverend Soto writes, "To be free, you must embrace the breadth of your own existence without apology, even if they try to take it from you. You must know, not that you can do whatever you want. You are not a kudzu vine eating entire hillsides for the purpose of feeding your own lush life. You must know instead that inside you are entire universes, milky blue, magenta, and gold, expanding. But to actually be free, you must know and you must fight for the entire universes inside of everyone else. Being free is not a license, but a promise." Today, I am with you, bringing a multitude of identities inside my being. For I, like you, am many things: a UU minister, a white person, an educator, ethnically Jewish, an activist, genderqueer, deeply nerdy. I'm a complex person. Each of us are. We bring entire galaxies of blessed complexity swirling within our bodies each and every day, just as the Reverend Ninan Soto wrote in our words for meditation. We bring them here because we know that this is a place where we can thrive, or that is the hope. One of my many complex identities, being genderqueer, sometimes called non-binary, is one that's currently living on the edge of Unitarian Universalism margins, and in the world as well. Debates often rage across the internet, fierce as the wildfires and the hurricanes racing across our landscapes this week. People ask questions, important ones, I'm certain. Should people like me be allowed inside of bathrooms? Should I get to have pronouns? These questions are argued as if my very presence is tearing at the fabric of reality. In the midst of being involved in a conversation completely unrelated, theology, spiritual practice, sometimes just mentioning that I use they and them pronouns when someone refers to me can drag an entire conversation I was excited to have into a death spiral of grammar questions. Sometimes I wonder if my gender is a black hole in the center of the galaxy, swallowing up every other thing I was excited about in social space, one by one, for nothing can escape the event horizon of the pronoun. But on other days, I remember how it felt before I had words to talk about it, how uncomfortable it was to be left in the unknown, trying to swim like the narwhal I surely wasn't. It was like trying to fit into a bathing suit I'd outgrown, a constant awareness that my assigned gender was constricting, that it didn't fit. I couldn't move normally. I was always eager to get somewhere I could take off that suit and finally just get a full breath. I grew up Unitarian Universalist. I don't want to pretend like I was in some kind of constricting environment. My congregation went through welcoming congregations back when I was in early high school. But at the time, transgender people were seen as strictly binary. You moved from male to female, or from female to male. People were made to perform the gender they were transitioning to with such precision in order to earn their hormonal and surgical approvals from doctors and psychologists who saw reassigning gender as a performance contest. I believed I wasn't transgender at all because I couldn't imagine spending all that effort to peel off that ill-fitting swimsuit just to get right back into another one that would fit me at least as badly. So I decided my gender was just very angry about the patriarchy. And that worked for a few years, sort of. Like choosing whether to be a sea unicorn or a land narwhal. Something was just still off. Then I read a Kate Bornstein book. I realized there were names for people like me. Gender Outlaws was the book. They were genderqueer. People who were messing with people who were queering, twisting, changing the very concept of gender by not being one of two endpoints on the spectrum, but moving not just along the spectrum, but outside of it, creating our own points like a multitude of stars across the galaxy wherever we set up shop. The modern term is non-binary, NB for short. See, here's the thing about language. Once you can name something and claim that name, you become able to hold on to it, to imagine yourself into the world, to repeat it and keep it and share it and grow into it. A name, whether narwhal, trans, unicorn, non-binary, they, she, he, z, jem. A name, a pronoun means that you can talk about your existence, tell stories, make meaning of your life in a relationship to others. All that in a name. People who can talk about themselves can find other people, can form communities. And just like that, you become someone who is not alone in the universe, but part of an interdependent web, part of an interconnected creation. Many of you may have had a similar experience, becoming Unitarian Universalist. Perhaps at coffee hour, the first or second or third time you walked through these doors, and you thought, as so many have before, oh, I didn't know there was church for people like me. That's the power of a name for your identity, connection, growth, thriving. Because this isn't just about me, or even about gender, or pronouns, or identities. Many of you have had these moments of identifying or reframing self, identifying, reframing God, what is good and holy and beyond and with us in the universe. Yes, even the atheists. Because what is holy, what is worthy of our regard, what is more than mundane, exists for all of us. That experience of suddenly knowing, this is where I fit into the world. It might be becoming a writer, joining a women's group, a political action group where you find people who care about the same things you do and click. You become known, part of something larger and accountable to one another. Like our song earlier, Amazing Grace, now we understand, we see We know all that was unknown. In her book, A Wind in the Door, Madeline Allingle draws upon the words of biblical psalms, the prophets of the Bible, setting up an essential conflict between those who are named, who would become, and those who choose to make anonymous, individualized identity, the ego, their wholeness, to become X'd, anonymized. She writes a beautiful poetic statement. The main character, Meg Murray, must call out in an attempt to save those in danger of being extinguished, of becoming unknown and anonymized. I have adapted slightly for clarity outside the book's context, but Madeline Allingle's call is worthy of us. She says, I name you all that would be nothing. I name you each. I name you all. I name you, beloved. I name you, known and knowing. I fill you with naming. Be butterfly and behemoth. Be galaxy and grasshopper, star and sparrow. You matter. You are. Be caterpillar and comet. Be porcupine and planet, sea, sand, and solar system. Sing with us, dance with us, rejoice with us for the glory of creation. Seagulls and seraphim, angleworms and angel host, chrysanthemum and cherubim. Oh, cherubim, be. Sing for the glory of the living and the loving, the flaming of creation. Sing with us, dance with us, be with us, be. May you be named and known in this way that Madeline Allingle has said, or as the Rabbi Mark Moskowitz, an Orthodox rabbi of the congregation Beit Simchat Torah, says, religion is about being able to be in a relationship with God. But if we don't create space for people to be who they are as the most genuine, authentic versions of themselves, then none of this is real. I know that for Unitarian Universalists, we have already stretched on that one side, the humanity and God equation. It includes so much space for relationship with the divine, with our highest values, with the meaning that makes life worth living. And just as we have allowed that side, the relationship between people and what is holy, to bloom into meaning more than traditional concepts, today we are stretching, allowing the human end of that relationship to flourish in community by affirming the worth and the dignity of all people just as they are in their most authentic, genuine concept of self. And before we end, let us pause for a moment. Take a breath, maybe two. Check in with your body. Because for so many of us, the ways that we were taught to associate gender with our sense of self include shame. Somewhere down in the deep reaches of your body, there might be a shrinking embarrassment from when you were young and mixed up the words girl and boy, or not getting the difference in pronouns, from playing dress up and being confidently told you can't, you shouldn't even pretend to be a person who wears those clothes because they're for another gender, and you never get to be that. Breathe again. Wherever you find those feelings, breathe through it. If you find shame, breathe through that. If you find fear, breathe through that. Whatever you recall, know that here you can keep on breathing and being, and you are named. You know and are known. It is important, vital to your thriving, that you understand and that you can breathe into your most genuine, authentic concept of self. Because until you know how to stay with your embodied self, it doesn't matter if I tell you that there are 500 years of they, them pronouns that Shakespeare and Jane Austen used singular they. It doesn't matter if I can tell you that suicide rates for trans teens drop by over 40% if just one supportive adult is in their lives, that people whose pronouns are used consistently are only half as likely to self-harm if they are non-binary. It doesn't matter any of this that I tell you until you know, no matter how many facts, how many stories, how much evidence, until you know how to breathe into your embodied self and you feel inside you the entire universe's milky blue, magenta, and gold expanding. Until you get there, you will not know. We, together, small and large, butterfly and behemoth, galaxy and grasshopper, star and sparrow, we matter. We are. Let us sing, dance, and become part of that dance of all creation and creativity, engaging with all that is possible, even what seems beyond possible, locked in the imagination until we find our way beyond today's barriers to a more glorious community in all creation. May it be so. Blessed friends, if you came here seeking holiness, may holiness go with you from this place. If you came seeking the embrace of life, may life return your affection. If you came here seeking community, may you go forth surrounded by love. And if you came here searching for a better way, may you find that path to carry you onward and the courage to take it each day. Blessed be.